In a world where Brandon seeks redemption against David, and three idiots think they can make the gaming industry better, this is Sick and Wired.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Sick and Wired, the official podcast of Sick Critic, where we break down the latest and greatest in the gaming industry. I'm one of your hosts, Devin Pratt, and today I'm joined by Brandon Pero.
Hello.
And David Fraley.
What a do?
We got a lot of exciting stuff to cover today, so we're going to jump straight into our first segment, which we call the News Flash, and Bungie is breaking off from Activision. Kind of some big news here. In a quote, they're saying, "Today we're announcing plans for Bungie to assume full publishing rights and responsibilities for the Destiny franchise. Going forward, Bungie will own and develop the franchise, and Activision will increase its focus on owned IP and other projects. Activision and Bungie are committed to a seamless transition for the Destiny franchise and will continue to work closely together during the transition on behalf of the community of Destiny players around the world." So, that's pretty big news, especially considering all the stuff that's been going on with Activision Blizzard here lately. So, what's your guys' take on that?
I'll let you go first, Brandon. I've got a lot to say.
Oh, I know you do. Classic. Well, I think the biggest thing here to me is at first glance you think, oh, what does this mean for Destiny 2? And I think that is honestly the least interesting of the news. Because the Destiny 2, here's the thing. Bungie has more than proven themselves in this industry and what they're capable of in terms of AAA titles. Publishing on their own is a little bit different, but we know they can definitely handle the development side of things. And them being publishers, I think, just means that they get a lot more freedom with what they want to do. So they get to make a lot more decisions. They can go at their pace. They don't have any ties to anybody else with Destiny, with the franchise anymore. So they are totally free to go about in whatever manner they want, tackling Destiny 2. How they'll go about it, the best thing I can see is there were reports of Bungie being displeased with the rapid rate at which Activision wanted them to release the content for Destiny 2. And so I think this just means we're going to get better Destiny 2 a little bit later. Yeah. So which is great for everybody. But the more interesting side of this, I think, is actually Activision, and on a larger scale, Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard's been more than a mess. They've been in a huge downward spiral for many months now.
Well, we saw Activision shares fall by close to 7% after this announcement. And that's after following all the other stuff that we just recently went up to, especially stuff that we talked about last week, how they lost 2 CFOs, Mike Morhaime leaving the company, and just a lot of infighting between what is going on over there at Activision. So it's obviously a lot of things are going on here. I don't think this is so much to do with Bungie actually kind of seeing that Activision's like in trouble. It might be, but I do agree with you on the point. I think this is more of them wanting to have complete control over their own IP and not have to sit there and cater to what Activision wants, kind of like how they've, I don't want to say butchered the Call of Duty series, but how they've put it to a point where it has to come out every year, and they're expecting this and, this to come out for their shareholders. But this isn't anything new for Bungie either. They started with Activision, 2010? But 3 years prior, they split with Microsoft, and they handed over Halo 3. Now, given they wanted to start their own IP doing that, but how much was that them wanting to take control of what they were doing compared to what they were being told to do? So I kind of take Brandon's viewpoint on that. But, David, I know you got a lot to say here.
Yes, I do. So, one, I think this is the greatest thing ever. My reasons behind that are Destiny. My biggest thing right now is I think that and EA is just as big of a, God, the word is fleeting me right now. I can't even think of it. Damn it. So they're just as big as of a reason, like that they keep trying to impress their shareholders as Activision does. I think they try to push out too much stuff. I think they try to, too much stuff at once. I think they're trying to charge too much money for things, and it's just like it's not working. And I think the big reason why Bungie's breaking away from Activision is the fact that you keep charging your players so much. It was like, oh, well, we're going to charge you $60 for the game. You can get these ultimate editions or whatever for it. They give you some more stuff, whatever, and then we're going to charge you like another $40, and that's going to get you these 2 other expansions. Well, anybody who knows anything about Destiny 1 and everything that came after that, they know that they're probably going to expect, and get the same stuff that's coming with Destiny 2. And they were right. Right after you spend the $40 on these 2 other expansions, then they're like, oh, guess what? We're bringing out a 3rd one. And guess what? It's going to cost you like another $40. And you have to have the other 2 expansions in order to play this. Me being a consumer, me being somebody who actually really liked Destiny and wanted to sink my teeth into it, I was like, okay, I already bought one of the older expansions. I'll spend the $10 because it was on sale, get that, and then I'll spend another $50 to get Forsaken. And they're like, oh, well, guess what? That's not where it stops. You can also buy this Forsaken Game Pass, and that gets you 3 other, Forge expansions or whatever, and that's like another $40. Stop. Sweet baby Jesus, just stop money gouging your freaking people that are buying, your consumers, the people that are buying your game. And I think that's the biggest reason why they saw such a setback on that, is you were charging people left and right, and you're it's just a big cash pot, and it's like, nobody wants to spend that much money on these games, especially when they're not that good. If it was Grand Theft Auto 5 status or whatever, yeah, maybe spend $200 on it because the game's going to keep playing for 5 years. You are not, in the next 3 years, going to be playing Destiny 2. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They won't even be selling Destiny 2 that long.
Well,
you
I don't know. There's obviously this came out in a joint statement from Bungie and Activision, so there wasn't much pushback from Activision on this, I don't believe. And from what we're seeing, Activision's trying to cut costs everywhere they can. They're obviously, they're leaking water somewhere, for instance, per se. But I think this is going to be mutually beneficial for both parties, in the sense that they're not having to front the bill for certain things that Bungie might have been doing, and it could help them on their cost side of things. But then again, it's also going to hurt them on the back end, because Destiny's obviously a pretty popular franchise. So it remains to be seen how that's going to kind of take up. But I don't want to take too much time on Destiny or Bungie here. Sorry. So let's kind of jump into Red Dead, the new Battle Royale, Dawned Gunrush.
I will tell you that I have not had a chance to play it yet, but I do know a couple things. It's very much like your normal Battle Royale, except for instead of 100, you start off with 32. Their online thing is still in beta. I don't really expect, to be honest with you, I don't really expect this to go that far. I don't expect this to catch on like a Fortnite or a Call of Duty Blackout or anything like that. Main reason, because even though it's a shooting game, their shooting mechanics just aren't that good to where, I can see this being a huge hit. I think it was just an additive that they've added to their whole entire online ecosystem, and they're probably like, hey, if you want a Battle Royale style, we have it. It's 32 people instead of 100, but it's a small little portion of our entire online thing, and we've got way more things in store than just that.
See, that's where I'm going to disagree with, because I don't think that Red Dead is going to have the longevity that Grand Theft Auto did. I think this is more of, when people say beta, yes, the game's in beta, but so was Ark for a year and a half before it went to full release, but pretty much you got everything on that came with full release while it was still in early access. I don't think there's enough here. There's enough content here. There's enough stuff that they can give players in the online format that's going to transition like it did with Grand Theft Auto. Why? I mean, why else would you put a battle royale mode in a game that an online version of a game when we are so just oversaturated with battle royale games? You have Fortnite, Call of Duty, Blackout, and multiple others that have. They're not. I mean, they're in the vein of battle royale, but they're not what you would expect out of it. I don't see, and like you already have Rockstar putting up job listings for next generation projects, so they're already looking to the future. They see something else that they kind of want to take on with this. And with Red Dead, I think it's more about connecting to the players on a single player experience version as it was before the online. And Red Dead Redemption wasn't that great. I mean, it was fun, but then you weren't going to spend the time that you did with Grand Theft Auto Online. I just don't see them being able to transition players that loved Grand Theft Auto, got Grand Theft Auto Online, and could put years of time into it. I don't see that happening here, and I don't see it happening in any time in the foreseeable future. So I feel like this is kind of like to plug the hole here and kind of find something to give players to do. But as an overall, I don't see it going as big as Grand Theft Auto. You guys may disagree with me here, but I think Rockstar is going to move on to something else when the next generation consoles come out, and it's probably going to be something that we haven't really been expecting. Could be a new Grand Theft Auto, who knows?
I've already voiced this opinion in a previous episode before, but I really think that that Rockstar agrees with me, and they know that they're going to be releasing the next Grand Theft Auto in probably not soon, but soon-ish. It's not going to be too long now. We're probably looking at when this next console generation starts, the next Grand Theft Auto is going to be released, I would imagine. And they know that once that releases and that online comes to be, Red Dead's immediately going to be worse. That online's immediately going to be worse. So like you were saying, longevity with it is an issue, but I feel like it's not that Red Dead couldn't be long term. I think it's more the fact that they know that it just won't, considering the other projects that they have going on and that they want to do.
Yeah.
I think it definitely could, though. I think they could definitely pour enough resources into it and make it something that could last just as long, maybe even longer than Grand Theft Auto 5, especially with their aptitude for storytelling. So, but I definitely think they're looking towards the next Grand Theft Auto.
Well, yeah, because that's their money pot, right?
It's their bread and butter, man.
Yeah, I mean they make all of their cash off of all of the Grand Theft Autos.
I've bought it like 5
really
times.
do,
I've bought it on every single console, and I don't know why.
And that's my exact reason, is because it is such a popular title. If you say, like, let's put it this way. Even if you walk up to somebody off the street that doesn't know anything about video games at all, and you tell them, hey, have you ever heard of Grand Theft Auto? Chances are they've heard of it. I mean, that is a household name. If you go up to somebody in the street and go, have you ever heard of Red Dead 2? They're going to be like, what the hell's that?
God, our society's messed up. Hey, you ever heard about that game where you take a rocket launcher and blow a random civilian up? Yeah, I've played that.
Oh, yeah, that one. I love that one.
That's my favorite game.
Or, yeah, I know that one. My son likes it.
Oh, God, that's the worst, dude.
All right, guys, we're going to transition to the next topic here, though. GameStop is going to be acquired by another company, and it's probably going to be finalized sometime in mid-February. Don't know who yet, but we know a couple companies are bidding. This is not exactly shocking to me, considering everything that's been going on with them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of disappointed anyone's even buying them. I kind of just want to see GameStop disappear, but hey, to each their own. What's your guys' take on this?
So you can censor this. Whoever's editing this, I hope you know how to increase or insert cat noises. But thank the Lord, because holy heck, I hope somebody buys them out, and I hope that they turn around whatever policies that they've been using recently, because I understand it's a company. I understand you got to make money. I totally get all that. But again, with the money gouging, don't let me come in, and if I'm trying to sell games that I've bought prior, give me a nickel and a half a freaking penny for a game that came out a year and a half ago, and then turn around in a game that came out maybe 5 years ago, charge me $30 for it. I'm sorry, but that is a complete and utter ripoff. I that's the one thing that I hope they change, and and I hope maybe they find other ways that they can keep the company alive. Like, I don't wish that the company goes under. There's people that that's how they bring home the bacon. Like, they work there. There's managers. There's people that work there part time. Like, they love their job. But nobody's buying physical copies anymore either. Like, there's a lot of people that are going straight to digital, and with the rumors of a lot of these consoles streaming your games now, there's no need for a physical copy.
Yeah, completely.
I'm gonna come out and just say that I'm a little bit sad about it, because I think this is the inevitable downfall of a company that has had questionable business practices, but in the end, for a very long time, was kind of the staple when it came to how you got your games. And so there's some nostalgia there for me. But I just, it's hard for me to comment on it, because I really have no idea what direction they're going to go. I mean, whoever buys it out, from what I've read, the two companies looking to buy it are Apollo Global Management, which is some company that nobody knows, and Sycamore Partners, which owns Staples. And I feel like whatever they do with it, GameStop is doomed. GameStop is just done.
I don't know if you guys took the time to read it, but I definitely elaborated on this last year when I wrote my piece, digital versus physical, the digital apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah.
The amount of digital copies that have been sold compared to physical has been increasing at an alarming rate. So, like, back in 2009, you had 20% digital copies sold versus 80% total on all video games, period. And let's just say, compare that to 2014. It went to 61% digital to 39% physical. And then as late as 2016, and I haven't updated these statistics since I wrote this analysis piece, it was all the way up to 75% of all video game sales were digital in 2016. And it's just been growing and growing at a rate faster than 5 to 6% every single year. So let's just assume that same thing has happened over the past 2 years. You're looking at anywhere from 80 to 85% of all video games were purchased digitally. Now, this benefits publishers, this benefits, video game makers, and pretty much everyone in the industry besides retailers. Because the retailer margin on video games is anywhere from $15 to $20 per copy when you're looking at distribution of goods and the amount that it makes to actually make the video game itself. So you're talking $20 per video game on a game that sells 50 million copies. That's a lot of money. That's going back to the developers and the publishers themselves. So, I mean, maybe if you take a third party and like we've seen with Epic Games, how they're only charging like 15% or 12% to post their games up there, it's a huge difference. And it comes down to convenience over. I actually prefer physical copies, but it's a lot more convenient to get a digital copy. So I couldn't tell you the last time I walked into a GameStop and actually bought a video game. I think last Christmas, not this most recent one, but 2 years ago, I went and bought my sister a PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5. Wait, 4. Sorry.
5.
PlayStation 4.
Wait a second.
Yeah, 5's coming out.
say-
Yeah, but sorry. way off base here. But I bought a PlayStation 4 for my sister only because I was getting a console. But I don't go into GameStop to buy video games anymore. And I would say a large amount of people in the United States, overseas, are doing that same thing. So, like Brandon said, it doesn't matter who picks up this company. I do not see it working. And the companies that you just named and the ones that they own, I don't think they have a real general grasp of what they're kind of getting into. They just know that GameStop makes a lot of money, but I don't see that working for them.
Here's what I could see. I could see that this is the direction what I can see going on. They're going to take GameStop and they're going to say, "Hey, everybody wants digital copies. Let's everybody likes convenience. They don't want to leave their store or their house rather. So let's shut down the brick and mortar, and we're going to go to totally online. We'll still be distributing physical copies, but it can be delivered to people, so people still get that convenience. They just have to wait a little bit for their physical copy of the game, and then it could go. And then the big way I could see this going is they do that, and almost immediately the business is non-existent, because why would you go to GameStop.com and get it there when every person under the sun has 2 Amazon accounts? So,
well, not only that, but here's the thing too. So why would I go to even Amazon to buy a digital version of a copy or anything when I can just go to the PlayStation store? I can pre-order the game, preload it onto my console, and then all I'm doing is just waiting till midnight on whatever day the release day is, and then it's automatically there.
Well, but it wouldn't be about buying digital copies from GameStop. I'm thinking it's going to be about buying physical copies, but just them getting shipped to you instead of you going on or going to a store and getting them. That's what I was saying.
I mean,
but then they're going to tank because
everyone's
got Amazon. No one's going to care to go to GameStop for that. Go to GameStop.com.
The only thing that I can see where things might start to get a little stickier, and maybe Amazon would jump in to take the the role of this, is game consoles. Like, how many times and how many pictures have we seen of when when the PlayStation 4 released, GameStops were flooded with people trying to get their hands on the latest console. Same thing with the Xbox One. It was these places were literally overrun by mobs of people trying to go in there and get these consoles. Where are you? You could go to a Best Buy or something, or a Walmart or whatever, but it's I don't know. It's you want to kind of go to a place like a GameStop, and usually sometimes the GameStops would have some sort of pre-order bonus or whatever for those consoles or whatever. It's, I don't know. I just, like I said, maybe unless Amazon jumps in, they're like, hey, you can pre-order the consoles here, and we'll just hope to dear God that you don't crash the site like you did on Amazon Day. But
hey,
I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna last, but hey, we're not gonna divulge on their inconsistencies too long here.
I just want to say one more thing. The only thing that I could see GameStop doing, and possibly slim chance of working and keeping GameStop afloat, is game rentals. I think
GameFly.
I think that is the only option that they have that could possibly, with the right business model, that could make it work.
Well, they actually do have that in store, and they did for a period of time. I don't know if they still have it. They did have the game rental option that you could do, but you had to go in store to do so. So, I mean, it's completely possible that they do that to an online format, but that kind of just will remain to be seen.
All right, let's move on.
But with that being said, guys, I know Brandon's a little salty here. He wants some revenge. I know David wants to hold up his mantle from last week, so we're going to jump into Who Said It, where I ask my co-hosts a list of questions to test their gaming knowledge on popular quotes given from select characters in video games. So David, you were a winner last week, so we're going to give you the honors of going first. We're not going to do the whole number thing like last week. And I got a good list here. A good list
Suck it, Brandon.
of good questions.
Eat
Some of
my
them are going to
balls.
give you the year. Some of them are going to give you the year. Some are just going to be generalized, but I will try to explain my best. So, are you guys ready?
Oh, I was born ready.
I was not born ready, but I have prepared for this my entire life.
I ate a bowl of Brandon's for breakfast, so I'm ready.
I ate a bowl of game quotes for breakfast, so I'm double ready.
Oh, yeah? Did you guys study?
I don't need to study. I think last week shows that.
But hey, no matter who the winner is this week, just remember one thing. I'm always the winner because it's scripted, I wrote it, and I can't lose. All right, Q1. Question number 1. The quote is, there's no year on this, but I will tell you they are all from either a different Assassin's Creed game. The quote is, wanting something does not give you the right to have it. That is either A, Edward Kenway from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, B, Connor Kenway from Assassin's Creed 3, C, Altair from Assassin's Creed 1, or D, Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed 2. David?
I'm going to say D, Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio.
I don't know much about the Assassin's Creed games, but I don't think you'd come out and give us an Assassin's Creed 1 quote. I'm going to say Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Creed 3, so you went B, Connor Kenway?
Yes.
All right, you are wrong. It is actually D, Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed 2. Brandon, you get 0 points. David, you get 1. Oh, God, I'm seeing flashbacks already. Flashbacks.
Oh, okay. Let's not go into flashbacks now. Flashbacks.
He's suffering from PTSD already. Let's do this.
All right. This one comes from way before Brandon was actually born, but we're not going to get into that. The quote comes from 1996. The quote is, "It's time to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum."
Oh, I know this.
That is either A, Ranger from Quake 1, B, Farnham the Drunk from Diablo 1, C, Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem 3D, or D, Chris Redfield from Resident Evil 1. David?
C, Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem. Everyone knows that one.
Hey. I had to give you a toss-up.
You don't give me enough credit.
Hey, that is the correct answer. C, Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem 3D. All right, we're going to move on to question number 3. This game was made in 1994. Now, I'm not going to have a character, but you're just going to tell me the video game it came from. The quote is, "Say Fuzzy Pickles." That is either from A, Super Metroid, B, Earthbound, C, Earthworm Jim, or D, Donkey Kong Country. David?
I'm going to say C, Earthworm Jim. That seems like that's kind of like one of those funnier games, and it seems like a funny quote. So
I would agree. I was going to go that direction too.
Okay, yeah, good thing you both are not good at this game. The answer is B, Earthbound. I bet Maxwell probably would have known that one. So
Max is going to scream at us while he's listening to this.
Guys, I just need you to do one thing.
What?
Say Fuzzy Pickles.
Fuzzy Pickles.
Fuzzy Pickles.
All right, on to question number 4. This game was made in 2012. The quote is, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." That was either said by A, Commander Shepard, Mass Effect 3, B, Maya, Borderlands 2, C, Ada Wong, Resident Evil 6, D, Emily Caldwin, Dishonored 2. David, you're still in the lead, so you're going to give the honors of answering this one first.
I'm going to say C.
All right.
Brandon?
Oh, gosh. I'm between 2. Could you read the quote one more time?
Sure. The game was made in 2012. The quote is, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." Do you need the options as well?
I just need to know, what was the character from Borderlands 2?
Maya.
Who the hell is Maya? Damn.
So this one was a tough one.
I
feel like I've heard this quote before, but I just can't.
I have heard this
I don't know.
quote,
Can't
and I'm
picture.
almost certain it's either A or B. Almost certain. I just...
Pick one,
The
fool.
more things change, the more they stay the same.
Choose your fate.
I'm going to say that it sounds so Borderlands 2 to me.
B?
Yes.
The answer is C. Ada Wong from Resident Evil 6.
Oh my
Sorry.
god!
Kidding.
I can't be stopped!
David has got another point. Brandon, you are still at 1, man.
I've heard
What
that.
is going
I've heard
on?
that somewhere, and
What
I have
is
never
going
played
on?
a
Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evil game.
Brandon, David, was that just a guess, or did you know that?
No, I actually... Okay, so my buddy is a big Resident Evil fan, and I've watched him play a number of the games, and I think that's where I remember hearing it from. Because I remember hearing the quote somewhere, but, like, for whatever reason, Resident Evil just kind of popped into me.
Hey, well,
So it was like half guess, half educated.
good job on it. We'll head into question number 5. Now, I like to give you a little weird quote every now and then. You know, like last week's was borderline.
Every now and again, this is the second
A
game.
little super weird, so we're going to give you one here. It's not too hard, but it's just kind of weird. This game was made in 2016. The quote is, "Milk is secret to humans. Macbeth say milk make humans strong. Stronger than super mutants. Strong find milk. Drink milk. Make super mutants stronger than humans." That is either A. Minx from Baldur's Gate, B. Strong from Fallout 4, C. Michael Lash from Bloodborne, or D. Hawkeye Goff from Dark Souls.
B, Fallout.
I have never heard this. To be a contrarian, I'm gonna say. Wait, what were the two for the? What was A again?
Minx from Baldur's Gate. Now remember, this game was made in 2016.
2016.
I can't believe I'm
And
giving
what was
hints.
C?
Michael Lash from Bloodborne.
That one. Why not?
Okay. Well, Brandon, you are officially never playing this game again because I said the character's name in the quote. The answer is B, Strong from Fallout 4. I apologize. David, you have 4 points. Brandon, you are still at numero uno. The domination has continued. The domination. We'll get right into question 6. This game was made in 2011. And it's one of my personal favorite quotes here. And I'm not going to say the character's name because it is in the quote, but I will use that with the word me. The quote is, "When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take lemons back. Get mad. I don't want your damn lemons. What the hell am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day that it could give me lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's going to burn your house down. With the lemons. I'm going to get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down." That is either A, the Joker from Batman Arkham City, B, Athene Morgulis from Deus Ex Human Revolution, C, Cave Johnson from Portal 2, or D, Inquisitor Drogon for Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine.
Portal 2.
Oh God, I hope that's just a guess. D.
The answer is C, Cave Johnson from Portal 2.
I've never played Portal 2.
Dude, you need to play those. Those are so good.
I don't like puzzles.
It's 5-1. Well, we already know who's gonna win, but we're just gonna finish things off a little flashy. Brandon, you gotta
Please
get this
do.
one. You gotta get this one, Brandon, for your own sake. All right, guys. This quote comes from a game based on World War II. I'm gonna give you 3 different games with characters that are all, or 4 different games and characters that are all based in World War II. The quote is, "We're on a secret mission to get coffee and donuts. Problem is, Germans drank all the coffee and ate all the donuts. So now, we gotta go kick their asses." That is either A, Dixon from Call of Duty 3, B, Private McCloskey from Call of Duty 2, C, Boyd Travers from Medal of Honor Airborne, or D, Lieutenant Joseph Turner from Call of Duty World War II.
I'm going to say B.
Oh no, that is such a that is such a great quote too. I love that quote.
Oh,
It sounds. Oh gosh, that just sounds very. I'm gonna say Call of Duty World War II. That's the type of dialogue that I would expect from the guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Too bad you're both wrong. The answer is A. Dixon from Call of Duty 3.
And that was my second guess. I swear to God.
But second isn't first. If you're not first, you're last. So congratulations, David. You win this week's Who Said It. Once again, 2-time reigning champ. Maybe next week we'll get someone in to actually challenge him, Brandon.
Maybe next week we'll get some games from times when I was alive.
Hey, man, I mixed this up.
Oh, you guessed the freaking
we had
Duke Nukem one,
We had
right?
3 games that were all 2010 and newer. It's not my fault that you never played them.
Ouch.
Very disappointing.
And you want some ice for that burn, son?
It'll be okay. But I guess, guys, we might as well hop.
Somebody called a wambulance.
We might as well hop into our main topic here. And
Yes.
This week we got kind of a long one. David wanted to bring it up. That is, what would we like to see change in the gaming industry as a whole? This could go anywhere as far as PR related, types of games, just anything. Whatever you want. So, David, I know you had a lot to say on this, so we're going to start with you.
Yeah, so stuff that I want to see kind of change in our industry, and for you guys, this can be positive or negative stuff. I really personally enjoy when the developers are really transparent with what they're doing. A group that and I'm going to catch flack for this, I don't care. I really loved when Boss Key made Lawbreakers. Now, a lot of people didn't like Lawbreakers, and that's fine. You're wrong. But Lawbreakers 1 was a great game, and 2, the development behind it was very, very transparent. I mean, they came out almost every week with a dev diary, and were like, this is stuff that we're working on that is going to be in the next patch. And guess what? Here's some other stuff that we're working on for the road ahead. Like, they informed people, like, this is what we're doing. Like, they released patch notes all the time, which, we're up on their website and everything, but you could also kind of see them from, like the PlayStation Store and or the PlayStation menu. I want to see more transparency, and something that I want to see less of is developers taking advantage of people's pockets. That for me is like one of the biggest turnoffs to playing a game, is if I constantly keep hitting these money barriers where it's like, oh, we're releasing more DLC, but you got to pay more, more money. And it's like, how about you just release a full game? And, like, I mean, that's the one thing I probably liked a lot about some of these older games that we just talked about, is that when they released them, they were full games. They had all their multiplayer, all their single player. There were no extra add-ons. And I know they want to increase the longevity of these games and the lifespan of them, but maybe not just completely destroy our pockets with it, because it's just a big turnoff. And my last quote is, can we please, for the love of God, get server issues under control? Because I can't tell you how many times I've jumped into a multiplayer game and I'm having issues, matchmaking, or just my ping is super high because their servers are trash or whatever. Like, it's 2018, people. Like, this is what betas are used for. Do a public beta, get as many people as you can to play your freaking game and test the servers, stability. I don't understand why that's such a big problem anymore. But those are my 3 things.
I do feel like betas, and this is something that I've debated writing an article about. I just don't know if I'd be able to write a whole article about it. But betas and alphas are always said, in the context of multiplayer, it's always said to be a technique for, or not a technique, but a way for developers to observe, okay, how are the servers doing? Get a better idea of how many people we need to expect to be on here, etc., etc. but I just don't think, and this can kind of go along with that transparency thing, but I just don't think that's true. I think because what I've come to find through being involved in more and more betas is that it becomes less about the servers and more about, okay, we're just going to go ahead and make a crap ton of mistakes and put a bunch of bugs in there, but we want to get this game out. So let's just open up a beta, say it's for the servers, and then fix all the bugs in the beta after the beta. But then servers get actually minimal attention.
Yeah.
That's what I've
I
observed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired of seeing, like, I understand, like, if you want to release a beta on a game or like a little demo or whatever, but it's like if you are doing a beta for a game, you especially like, and I've seen it with every single multiplayer game, servers are having a major issue, and they're like, oh, we didn't know this many people were gonna play our game. Are you freaking kidding me? You're a AAA studio. Your game is popular. Like, I think we had this issue with one of the Call of Duties, and it's like, how do you not realize that millions and millions and millions of people are gonna play your freaking game? How about you have the servers be able to withhold the capacity for all these people? Like, I don't understand why this is such an issue anymore.
It's definitely a little late in the game to be having these kinds of server issues.
Yeah.
It was late. It was late in the game in 2010.
2015.
Like,
yeah.
2010 was starting to get a little late because you had I cannot for the life of me remember what the name of the game was, but you had a game in PS3. I can remember this was back before the days of PSN, but there was this one game you'd get in and there'd be like 60 players in a match, and it was basically kind of a team deathmatch if I remember correctly, and the servers worked great, especially for that time. You got very little disruption and stuff like that. I mean, this is not an issue that is even I feel like this isn't an issue that should really even be in this decade.
Well,
Yeah.
there's kind of two folds here when you look at this, but as far as with server problems, I mean, you have to think from a studio, a publisher, a developer perspective. Video games usually don't make a lot of money as far as profit wise. There'll be a lot of times that video games don't make any actual profit, just by the amount of money that it goes into development, that goes into all these things, and if it flops, they're just not going to make any money. So a lot of times when people are trying to allocate the amount of resources that they're going to put to their servers, especially when it comes to a beta, they don't want to pour all this money into having these dedicated servers, get more servers, and make sure they're putting all this time into it when they don't exactly know what the feedback's going to be and whether this game actually is or not going to be popular, which I do understand. So in a beta issue, I don't see that as a problem. Now, Brandon, you're saying they usually use that to fix a lot of bugs. Yes, but it is also to test server capacity and whether they're going to be able to fix that going into launch. Now, what I don't agree with is not having those things taken care of before you go into launch. So on day one, it's going to be expected that a lot of people are hopping into a game, and those servers could crash. Now, you should probably have an extra allotment, maybe have the server capacity to handle that high influx for that first couple of weeks until your player base dies down a bit to where you can reduce the cost of the servers. But there is just a big discrepancy here, and there's no reason that you should have these server issues when you're a week into a release of a game. And that also will hinder the amount of people that are going to be playing your game.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but then again, I do also look at the other side of the coin where a lot of these people don't want to pour the money and the resources into servers when they're not going to have a player base, i.e. lawbreakers, thinking that they're going to have a big player base. Their servers were actually, they worked quite well. I never had issues with their servers, but then again, I never really had people to play with because no one played the video game. So in their instance, that game lost them a lot of money. Now, could they have dialed back down on the server capacity and maybe saved some money here and there? Yeah, probably. So there's a lot that goes into that we don't exactly understand from being on this side of the coin, but I will give them that. Now, one of my bigger issues as far as gaming is concerned, as a whole, And mainly, this has been a lot of the PR issues that's been going on with the industry as a whole. I don't think I've seen, and this could be just because a lot of stuff has happened recently, but it feels like this past year, the past 2 years, I've seen more controversial things from developers, publishers, studios than I have seen my entire time of covering video games. And I don't know if you guys agree with me at all on this. But I mean, we have this all. I mean, in my eyes, this all really started to blow up as soon as we got the issue with Star Wars Battlefront 2, and the microtransaction pay to win issues going on there. And then that also transitions to the stuff about Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar Studios, and the culture behind there. You also have sexism going on, and a lot of bad culture at Riot Games. And you're seeing these trends happen, and this is coming out in a lot of different places, and it's starting to affect how people look at video games. Not to mention, the cultures that go into these companies. I mean, that's a huge, an ideal. It could turn off an entire player base by how you're treating people who are making the video games to begin with. So like where like my I want to say New Year's resolution for video games is to get that shit out the door. Take care of it now. Put procedures in place for workers. Make it a safe environment for them to work at. Give them proper hours. Give them proper pay, and make it to where I think you should unionize, some of these companies to begin with, to make sure that these people have the stuff that they need. And like, I don't know what your guys' take is on that, but that's kind of like my biggest pet peeve as far as the video game industry is concerned.
Well, this controversy, it all kind of revolves. I feel like it kind of revolves back around to what David was saying a lot with this idea of transparency, and that gamers and publications want to see more transparency in the developers, and so that's why they get so into a lot of these stories, like the problems at Riot Games. This was not something that just all of a sudden started happening this year. This is just something that was uncovered this year, and I think, I think after things like that, gamers are really starting to look into, okay, what is okay and what's not. And then that's when we get into microtransactions, because again, another thing where microtransactions aren't exactly a brand new thing, but now granted, they did take on different levels with Battlefield 2, Battlefront 2, but we've gotten to the point where a lot of gamers see that, oh, this game has microtransactions, well, screw this game, that sucks. I don't think that's necessarily a fair assessment of the industry, but it just, people wanting to be more. They want to feel connected to the developers, and when the developers put microtransactions in a game that clearly show their value of their value of money above the value of their players start to get upset, and they want that transparency of, like, I want to see what you're doing. I want to see the reasoning behind this, because I want to feel like I matter to you. Because,
well, so,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was pretty much it.
No, I didn't even. I thought you were done. I did not mean to cut you off.
I am done. I don't know where I was. I honestly was just gonna say another thing, but I don't know what I was gonna say. So, your turn.
Well, I apologize if I threw that little curveball at you. No, I mean, as far as microtransactions go, and I don't even really like this game anymore. But Fortnite does it the best. Okay, you have the base game, it's free. If you want to spend money on this, you don't have to. Like, this game is literally yours to play for as long as you want, and you never have to spend a penny. But if you do, all of it is just cosmetic. It's just stuff to make your character look cool, which I fall right into that category. If I'm using a character, same thing as Rocket League, I want to have something looking flashy. I want something to look cool. I want something that kind of makes my,
stand out.
Yeah, like I want to be unique when I'm playing. So if people look at me and go, "Man, that's my dude," that is totally fine in my opinion. If you want to have microtransactions that do that. Another thing that Fortnite does that's really well, and I've even heard some of the developers for Anthem doing this, is again cosmetic stuff, but they are also letting you see what you are spending your money on, which is something that I wish Rocket League would do, because Rocket League is still kind of in this loot box system
RNG
where
crap, and
yeah, it's like my biggest thing with Rocket League is, and I've probably boasted on this on other podcasts or whatever, and to other people, is so they've put cars that you can unlock in like past and prior loot boxes that you can pay keys for to buy. It's random in you getting that car, but then they'll introduce another loot crate or loot box or whatever you want to call it, and they will throw decals for that other car in this box. Well, now if there's other items in this box that I might want, because of it being random, I might get a decal for a car that I don't have. Well, now I feel ripped off that I just spent this money on something that I didn't want. It's like I wish that they almost just had like a marketplace that's like, hey, here's these cars. If you want the cars, they're $2, because that's usually what the price is for their cars. And if you want these decals, okay, maybe 50 cents to $1 per decal, And then, if they're the flashier decals that are like moving and make your car look really cool, okay, maybe charge like $5 for those or something. Like, but don't also make it so much to a point where it's, like a Fortnite where it's like, oh, it's $25 for a freaking outfit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can go screw yourself. I'm not going to spend $25. I could buy another game for that amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I get kind of ripped off. There's a right way and there's a wrong way to do microtransactions. And I feel like a lot of people still just don't quite have the model down right. They just don't.
I've yet to find anybody that I've talked to who said like, oh yeah, I'm totally against microtransactions. I don't want companies making that extra money off of me. Like, most gamers will say they want companies, especially if it's a game they really like, they want the company to make money because they enjoy their that game and they enjoy that company. But like you're saying, it's just about the way you go about it. You said Fortnite does it really well. They do. I think one that may do it even better is League of Legends. I think they do an excellent job.
I'd agree.
With microtransactions. I mean, I have a friend who spent almost $2,000 over 5 years or something like that. $2,000 on League of Legends skins and microtransactions. But you know what? That's fine. He's not required to spend that. He's in no way prompted to do that in exchange for other amenities in the game other than simply to look different. I mean, it's perfect in that sense. But then the area where people start to get really nervous, and then we start to see a lot of hate thrown towards microtransactions, is when we look at play to win, and we look at actually is like Battlefront 2 actually being able to get better at the game without being better at the game. And like that's one thing that Paladins has started doing. Like anyone who's listened to the podcast in the past know that I love Paladins, but one thing they do is you can buy masteries. And I hate that. Why would you as a developer want people to buy masteries if it's supposed to be a competitive environment? Wouldn't you want people to get better at the game? And the only answer is in this situation, they must care more about money. which is really disheartening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, I do agree with you in ways that certain companies do it right and certain do it wrong. Fortnite does a great way with it, as well as League of Legends. And the big key thing that I think that you get from both of these, like David was saying earlier, is there's no RNG loot boxes. And I think that's the biggest thing that needs to change in microtransactions, as well as the pay to win aspect that we saw with Battlefront 2. But the RNG, it's just random stuff. You could get something cool, you might not. But there shouldn't be any reason to pay for that. League of Legends does it extremely well because there is versions of a loot box that's in the game. And yeah, you can buy them, but you can also get them for free. Overwatch does the same thing. And you can get this by just playing time in, do well in a match, and you're rewarded for doing well in that match. You get a key, you use that key to unlock the box, which will give you several different things, skins, which you can use the points that you've gotten from playing to unlock these things. So you can even get the cosmetics, and like you can spend money to buy certain characters in the game, but you don't have to have that character. You can unlock him free. It just takes time to play it. And that is the same thing with Fortnite. And I do love the transparency that they have in that like David was saying, you know exactly what you're buying. Like I know, like I there's been times where I have looked at something on that, like the little shop area, and I'm like, God, like it's like 500 more coins. I don't have them, but I really want that. Yeah, I'm buying. Like I'm doing it. I just cave and I buy it. But I know what I'm buying. It's not like I'm buying a box and I could get something cool. And like that's what's addictive about it, is not knowing whether you're gonna get that or you're not. And it brings that gambling aspect into it, where it's been so controversial, where it's been banned in some countries overseas, and like that could make its way here. And I think that it should, because it is an addictive type of thing to want to get the better skin, but not knowing if you're going to get it. And like I don't know what that does to the human psyche on a brain, type of level, how that affects you. But I think these certain companies are doing it right, and like moving forward, if you take out RNG loot boxes, I think the industry as a whole will be a lot better.
Let
me tell you what it does to your psyche. I paid probably over $300 on Rocket League, and I'm not afraid to admit that, because that game is fantastic. But it will mess you up, because I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh, I'll just spend $10 on these tokens or these keys or whatever, and I'll just buy these things. And then like after opening 10 boxes, I'm like, why the hell did I do this? I got nothing out of this that I wanted. And it's like exciting, because you're like, oh, I could get it, and then you're like disappointed, and then you're like, oh, why did I buy it?
It's like the equivalent of realizing you ate the whole bag of chips instead of just a bowl. You're like,
yeah,
what did I do?
I've done the same thing with donuts.
You can't just have one Dorito, man.
Exactly.
No, I've done the same thing at work with donuts. Like, I buy a bag of donuts, and I'm like, this will last me like 2 days. I'll eat half of the bag, or maybe a quarter of the bag or whatever. And then I go to reach in thinking, I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten that many, and their bag's gone. And I'm like, what the hell? I just ate this entire bag. And I've got, like, coworkers looking at me like I'm freaking huge. Like, it's bad.
That's when you look in the mirror, realize you have chocolate on your face, and then immediately hit the treadmill.
Have you ever gone into a meeting at work and had a ring of powdered sugar around your mouth and tried to explain that to your boss?
I'm
just saying.
Wait, what?
I said, have you ever gone into a meeting and had a ring of powdered sugar around your lips and tried to explain that to your boss?
Oh Lord. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
David,
it's powdered sugar.
David, I'm glad that we finally got to this point in the podcast, because this is the point where we tell you this is a intervention. We need to
this
talk
is also
about...
the part of the podcast where I tell you that I'm not going to be a part of this intervention, and I'm going to dip out.
Yeah, well, to have an intervention, you have to have more than like one person, and I'm not agreeing to this intervention, so therefore the intervention is null and void.
Oh, okay.
So instead, me and David are going to have an intervention with you, Brandon. You ready?
Oh boy.
Yes.
You need to get good at who said it.
Oh.
Yep.
That hurt.
Because I don't know about you, but I'm going to start getting real bored winning all the time. Oh, shoot. He should be. I am too.
But is there anything else you guys would like to add on the main topic?
Yes, I've got one. So, my big thing is I want to see companies, or specifically publishers, I should say. I want to see publishers, big publishers, investing more money into indie games. Because here's the thing. I am so sick of seeing these really great companies that have accomplished so much and that frankly I like all of a sudden go down. Now, can every company survive every situation? No, of course not. Is every company going to make it to where Nintendo is, where they went from playing cards in like the early 1800s or whatever, all the way to now where they're a video game empire? No, not every company can do that, but situations like Telltale, I don't want to see happen again because of money issues. And I think a big way that you do that is I know Telltale isn't a publisher, but I think publishers need to start looking at some indie games that have a ton of potential, and if you just throw the right resources at them, it doesn't have to be AAA type money, but if you throw the right amount of resources at them and say, go nuts, make your dream, I think we could see a lot of not only profitability for publishers and developers, but also and growth. Don't forget growth for indie developers, but I think we could see a ton of just player satisfaction out of some more indie games that aren't to make a quick buck, that aren't these huge AAA games, because I think you need a healthy mix as a gamer of these big AAA games, a few of those in the year, and then a lot of really small, just maybe more easygoing,
Casual,
shorter, casual games. That it's just healthy for gamers to have that balance. So that's what I would like to see.
Well,
you're welcome.
Maybe we get our New Year's gaming resolution wishes, but that will remain to be seen.
That'd be a great article.
We've been at this for about an hour now. It's usually our cutoff time, so I'm gonna give you guys a chance to plug yourself. David, where can we find you at?
You can find me at our website.
Okay.
Go to it.
Or Twitter handle.
Do it now.
Twitter handle. Anything? No.
Twiddle. My twiddle hander.
Twiddle my fingers. Twiddle.
I'm not going to pimp my Twitter because I actually really do want them to go to the site. I say this again and again and again every single week, but we do have a lot of awesome stuff that goes up there, and we have. I know you guys don't necessarily see it, but we have a ton of hardworking individuals that are spending countless hours, whether it's editing or writing or just going over stuff, sitting in front of a computer or their phone trying to get stuff done and posted on the site. So a lot of hard work goes into it, and I just want to make sure that people that aren't part of this podcast are still getting shout outs.
Yeah, agreed. Brandon, anything you wanna pimp, plug, shameless plug?
I don't do a lot on my personal social media as far as posting goes. So, but one thing I will pimp that I don't think we've ever pimped before on here is the Sick Critic Discord.
Oh,
I think
that's a great idea.
Good man.
I think that is a great place to go. We post we post reminders about the podcast in case you miss it. Which, by the way, follow the podcast so that you get notified about whenever a new episode comes up. So you can go there. We can put a link in the description of this podcast so you can check it out. Just go. We have. David knows a lot more about this than I do, but we have game nights a lot of times where we just get together and play some video games. Which, I mean, come on, we're a gaming review and news site, you gotta play games. So you gotta take that
Well,
that
let's
time.
put it this way. What other site actually sets aside specific days to play with its community? You're not going to get that from an IGN or a Kotaku or anything.
Don't
set aside, we
say
play
those
some
names
games.
here.
I'm just those sites that should not be named.
Thou shall not be named.
But no, like seriously, like tomorrow is a perfect example. We're recording this on a Friday. We're actually having our game night session on Saturday, right around probably 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we just get together. We'll play. We've played the Jackbox Party Pack games. I'm actually going to be getting the 5th volume here soon, so that we can play some of those. We play a game called Scribble.io, which is like Pictionary online. And that has seemed to be a huge hit among everybody. But it's a good time. We get into some pretty fun discussions, and we have Pokemon. So come say hi.
Well, me personally, not gonna pimp anything personal, but I think we'll close out with that. Thanks for sticking with us and listening to Sick and Wired. Like they said, make sure to check us out at sickcritic.com to see some awesome reviews, news, opinion pieces. We got a great team. They put in a lot of hard work for that. Don't forget to follow us at Twitter at twitter.com/sickcritic and facebook.com/sickcritic. I guess since we talked about it, I will put links to the following things as well as Discord below. Make sure to join, check us out. I'm Devin Pratt here with David Fraley and Brandon Parra, and we're signing out.
Bye. I love you.